Alouettes will defend their Grey Cup title at Taylor Field. Let's find out how the West will be won. Danny Barrett sold his team on the fact Saskatchewan came in here in '89 and '97 and upset the Eskimos. He did it as a quarterback with Calgary in '91. On the other side, there's Tom Higgins trying to get his team back to the Grey Cup title game for the second straight year, and he says the lessons from last year have motivated his team throughout this season.
Well, they know what they got to do. They want to get back in it. They know that Montreal's in it now. They want to do their part. But I tell you what, Saskatchewan, let's take a look. 5-game winning streak, 3 on the road. So they're confident coming in here.
There's former Eskimo Nealon Green. He'll start for Saskatchewan. Ricky Ray for the Eskimos. Paul McCallum has it on the tee. And those are the Western final upsets that Saskatchewan is buoyed by coming into this game. Winston October is deep, along with Mike Bradley, who returned to kickoff, an opening kickoff in the last home game for the Eskimos. And Edmonton riding an 8-game win streak on their home turf. Here we go. And it will be October, fielding the bouncing ball at his 12. And Winston October out across the 35-yard line. Simon Buffo, a former Eskimo, with the tackle as we check Chris Walby's Canadian Tire.
Well, I tell you what, for offense, you got to go to the cup. You have to put the ball up. You got to throw the ball, get your receivers involved. 5 of 50 is not going to cut it today. On defense for Saskatchewan, I'll tell you what, you must jam the receivers. This is a talented Edmonton receiving crew.
So Saskatchewan starts on defense. Edmonton with the ball. And Ricky Ray, the outstanding sophomore, hands it off, and rumbling on his first run of the game, former Alouette Mike Pringle to the 42-yard line.
Well, you talk about Edmonton, what they have to do offensively. You got to pay the price to go to the show. What do I mean by that? It means do all the little things right now. No mental mistakes. Secure the football. Turnovers have hurt them the last 3 football games. And bullseye Nealon Green, that's the man that's going to carry the backs of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
5 for Pringle, 2nd and 5 for the Eskimos. Ray dumps it off, and Ed Herbie with speed, but then taken down at the 51. Ladofius McCalla, the tackle, and Ed Herbie, the first down.
You look at Ricky Ray's numbers there, so confident, so cool, just sits back there. Great offensive line in front of him, just getting the job done. And you know what, Chris, they've done a wonderful job of mixing it up with the crossing routes with the receivers. A lot of times it's Terry Vaughn, now we see Herbie. It's really going to give that secondary a big challenge today.
Remember, before the Grey Cup game last year, Ed Herbie talked about he'd never seen the field worse. But this field not bad today. Shovel, Jason Tucker. That is the first time this year Jason Tucker has taken a shovel pass, a Danny Machocha wrinkle to start the game.
Oh, I think it's a smart move. Get everybody involved early as we take a look at the lineups. Pringle, Ricky Ray, Troy Mills back in the lineup after injuring his ankle 2 games ago. Boy, I tell you what, look at these guys. See you later, guys. Herbie and Tucker, because if they catch the football, it's see you later to the cover guys. And an offensive line leading the league in sacks against. How about Kaminsky and Beat? And once again, Western All-Stars.
2 terrific offensive lines in this game. 2nd and 5, pressure on. Ray couldn't find anybody. He'll pull it down, and he's got the first down. Reggie Hunt the tackle, but Ricky Ray, who's not the running quarterback in this game, comes up with a big run for a first down.
Well, smart play, but I tell you what, Shawntae Peoples, who brings the pressure from the top, he's going to come around Chris Morris. Now you're going to see him come in your picture. He gets down, he falls down, he sits down, he doesn't get up quick enough. If he gets up, I tell you what, it's second effort that really wins you championships. Shawntae Peoples got to get up and try and make that play, not allow Ricky Ray to run for that first down.
9 yards to gain. Edmonton moves into Saskatchewan territory. Pringle bumped off the first contact, but doesn't get back to the line of scrimmage. That front 4, Gang Green, fired up.
Well, they want to play in Edmonton's backfield. Adam Schultz, Nate Davis, the West All-Star, and Shante Peebles will rush in. They'll get after Ricky Ray all afternoon. Melton, Hunt, and how about Mitchell? What a year he's had. Outstanding year. Defensive backs, I think one of the hardest hitters right now in the league is a newcomer, Darnell Edwards at safety.
No gain on the Pringle carry, 2nd and 10 from the Saskatchewan 45. Ray not finding open men. He may take off again. Jackie Mitchell closes. They will pull him down at the 41-yard line. Reggie Hunt there as well. And the Eskimos will be faced with 3rd down.
Taking a page out of the Alouette defense. Speed is a thing of beauty when it works, and I tell you right now, great job of the offensive line. Look at the throwing lane. He sees nothing, and one of the things Ricky Ray doesn't do, he doesn't force the situation. So he takes off the ball, but look at the pursuit of Jackie Mitchell and his partner in crime. Hunt coming over, and you can see there's Terry Vaughn downfield being covered by Davin Bush.
Sean Fleming to punt, and he booms this into the end zone. And out for a single point. So Tom Higgins elected the punt instead of a 48-yard field goal attempt. Edmonton strikes first with a single. Tom Higgins, Sean Fleming discussing perhaps should they have tried a field goal. Tom Higgins very conservative. Fleming only one 50-yard try all year. It came against Saskatchewan. He made it. You can see the flags. The wind would have been at Fleming's back.
Well, you know what? And he was warming up in the pregame with the wind, and he was kicking him easily from 50 yards. Now, I'm sure that was in his mind. He wants to try it.
So at the 35, Saskatchewan, with Nealon Green at the controls, has time up top. Jamal Richardson, well covered by Crutchfield.
It's a nice job of Crutch. Will keep him to the inside, not allowing him to come as we look at the offense. Sarka, Nealon Green, the big man. Kenton Keith, what a game last week, 3 touchdowns. Dominguez Moore, Grant Richardson, this receiving crew, only 5 catches last week, and an offensive line anchored by O'Day and Andrew Green.
6 receiver package, 2nd and 10. This time Green's going to scramble out of there. And he has the first down, and he is the running quarterback in this game. And he rushed for 89 yards in the opening win of the head-to-head series against Edmonton.
He doesn't make mistakes. He's not going to force the situation by throwing it up, take a chance on a turnover, so he pulls it down. He is the leading rusher against the Eskimos. Every time he takes off against his defense, he averages over 8 yards.
Leading rusher on this team, and now they flip it to Corey Holmes, and Raheem Abdullah catches Holmes behind the line of scrimmage.
You talk about playing your gaps, playing your assignments. Don't be fooled by misdirection. Raheem Abdullah comes up the football field, exactly what he's supposed to do, plays off the block, and makes the play in the backfield on Corey Holmes.
Saskatchewan goes to the hurry up. We did not see this once last week against Winnipeg. They call it their Apache offense. It has been very effective this year. 2nd and 15. And Green, he'll take off again. And Green near midfield. He'll come up a yard or 2 short.
But again, excellent effort by Nealon Green as we see some temper starting to flare already. Composure is going to be a real thing here. You do not want to lose it in this game and cost your team penalty and yardage. But Nealon Green again, seeing nothing downfield. Secondary, they're bringing AJ Gass on the blitz. Edmonton's secondary doing a nice job of covering the receivers downfield. He picks it up. Now he gets stopped short. You see Brady coming in there, Mobley, and just keeps fighting, keeps driving, determined to try and get that first down. Very close to it, 3rd and 1.
Now they're going to send Paul McCallum out, 3rd and a yard, and I really thought Nealon Green's extra effort gave Danny Barrett a pretty good option of gambling, but it's early.
And remember, you got Chris Sarka who's got 12 touchdowns and a lot of them on short yardage situations.
But instead, they punt the ball away. And it will be Singor Mobley from his 15-yard line. And he doesn't get very far. Good coverage downfield. Terrence Melton, Jocelyn Fournette, Chris Zarka, all in on the stop early in Edmonton. In the world, the new Sports Saturday beginning on November 29th. Ricky Ray and the Eskimos begin at their 20. And over the middle, Ricky Ray, a completion, and Hervey, who enjoyed a fine season, his second 1,000-yard campaign, and he told me he was more proud of this one because of all the weapons the Eskimos have. It's tough to get 1,000 yards when you have to share the ball.
Chris, this truly is an unselfish receiving crew. They're all so happy for each other. They all they have is a common goal, and that's to win the football game. But Ed Hervey, who got his second All-Star from the West nomination, well deserved.
18 yards. Ray to Hervey, first down. And Ray rolls, dumps it off. Troy Mills, Reggie Hunt hauls him down at the 44. Troy Mills back, missed the final game of the regular season, a sprained foot, trying to go to the Grey Cup for the third straight year.
And they just do a nice job. They're just going to roll it out and keep the quarterback with them. Just come back across, a little bit of a shovel pass option. If the man is covered, he'll take it deeper. But what it does, it takes the pressure off Ricky Ray and keeps the defender more concerned with the running back.
6 for the veteran Mills. 2nd and 4. Again over the middle, Scott Robinson, the native of Maple Ridge, BC, across midfield, and Edmonton first down.
Now Scott Robinson had a touchdown the last time these teams met, just sitting down in the zone, finding the open spot. Ricky Ray cools the cucumber to sit back there. Little drop, good protection again, just delivers the football. And I really like what the Eskimo receivers do after they catch the football. They always try and pick up additional yardage. They're not just satisfied with making the catch. 2
years ago, Scott Robinson had 8 catches in the Western Final. Eskimos back on the Saskatchewan side of half. Pringle rumbles inside the 50, and folks around the Eskimos camp yesterday were raving about how hard he ran in practice all week in preparation for this game.
And you got to remember, in the beginning of the year, Danny Machocho said, you know what, we hope to have Mike Pringle at his strongest in the playoffs, and that's exactly what's been happening. He has really become an integral part of this offense, and he only knows one speed. Whether it's practice or the game, it's 110.
Danny Machocha, the architect of the offense. 2nd and 4. Shovel inside, Rick Walters, and he will come up short. So a shovel to Walters, a shovel to Tucker. Those plays have not been called by the Eskimos all year, but you introduce new wrinkles at this time of the season.
Well, they're all just going to run it across here, and again, it's just another one of these coming across the line of scrimmage. Now, we saw it, as you say, with Tucker. The man they really like to use is Terry Vaughn, but the fact is they're going to mix up and try and get a mismatch in coverage from the defense of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
3rd and a couple. We talked about Tom Higgins being conservative, and now he's going to go for it on 3rd and at least 1.5 yards to 2.
Well, that's a big yard, but he's going to set the tone. He's trying to send a message right now.
Double tight ends are in. And they may just try and draw Saskatchewan offside. Well, they jump up, and there's Saskatchewan. Double tight ends, but they can pop up, and they do draw the Roughriders offside.
Well, they bring Groenwegen and Carlo Panero, the backup offensive lineman, into the double tight end situation. And they try and move, and
the tight ends can pop up because they are not down.
Procedure, Edmonton, number 96, repeat 3rd down.
That was a designed Eskimo play, and they'll argue the fact.
You're right, Chris, because as a tight end, he can get up and move. The question is if he got 7. Now, he's right over here. He's just going to pop up. As he pops up, you can see he just sets quickly. What the referee is looking at him, though, is the fact that he drops into a pass set and gets totally fooled by that. But he is a tight end because he can go in motion. The biggest thing is as long as they have 7 guys on the line of scrimmage.
So it wasn't necessarily a gamble for the Eskimos. They were unsuccessful in drawing offside, and Fleming angles the punt. McCalla lets it go through, and it will be another long single for Sean Fleming. 57 yards. And the Eskimos have a 2-0 lead off the foot of their all-star punter. Welcome back to the Western Final in Edmonton. Danny Machocha heated up on the sidelines, and so was Tom Higgins as they tried to draw Saskatchewan offside. Instead, they're called for procedure. 2-0, Eskimos lead. Roughriders hand it off to the hero of the Western Semi. Kenton Keith, the X factor last week with his first run. The big question, who's going to be the X factor for the Roughriders this week? Danny Barrett told us yesterday he has many candidates.
Well, I think the receivers are who he's trying to get more involved in this offense. As you say, Kenton Keith, really outstanding day. 14 carries, 130 yards last week. Averaged over 9 yards per carry against what was one of the toughest run defenses in the league of Winnipeg.
He comes out, 2nd and 6. Green, open man, underthrows Travis Moore. Speaking of X factors, he could be one, but no catches for the 3-time All-Canadian last week.
And at the end of the play, you can see Malcolm Frank and Shannon Garrett have a little chat because there was a breakdown in coverage right there, and Travis Moore was wide open. Basically, they both jumped Matt Dominguez coming inside, not allowed. And some would say it's a little bit of a rub, a little bit of a pick play. You see Malcolm Frank getting caught up in that jam by Dominguez, but Travis Moore wide open.
Paul McCallum kicking to Winston October. October at his 27. Surrounded, taken down. Buffo down first again.
It wasn't that he didn't like nice things. It was just that one of the nicest things he could think of was his son. And knowing what it would cost to raise him, he didn't mind spending less on his suits, as long as the quality and fit was still there. Because it wasn't that he didn't have the money. It was just that now he had found a better place to spend it. Well-made, well-priced, well-dressed. Moore's.
3.5 to go, first quarter, 2-0 Edmonton, and the Eskimos with the ball. Out there, 25, Mike Pringle, left side, and he's cut down immediately. Scott Schultz led the tacklers, the kid from Moose Jaw who sat in the stands at the 95 Grey Cup game and wants to play in the 2003 game at Taylor Field.
And Adams forces Pringle back inside. And one of the things is that the defensive line, you've got to work together. It's all gaps, so 92 goes to the outside. Now it's up to Scott Schultz, 96, to get penetration. He does it and brings down Mike Pringle for a loss.
2nd and just over 10. 3-man rush. Ray dumps it off. Flag down. Pringle gets steps out of the 41. Took the shoestring tackle attempt, but this likely to come back.
Oh, great effort by Mike Pringle to break the tackle, but only a 3-man rush.
Edmonton, number 62. Repeat 2nd down.
And Bruce Beaton is going to get called with the penalty, the left tackle. He's working against Nate Davis, 98, right there in the center of your screen. Gets him to the outside, and he's riding there, and I don't see any hold right there on that man. That is a good block because the only arm is to the outside is actually Nate Davis. Beaton's hands are both inside. That's not a penalty.
Western All-Star, 7th time. Remember, he was ejected with Nate Davis, along with Tim Princeton and Shante Peoples in the first meeting. 2nd and a long bunch, and that's Terry Braun time. And Terry Braun's got it more. the chains.
You gotta love the way this offensive line rebounds. They get a holding penalty, even though I didn't agree with it. They give outstanding protection to Ricky Ray. Now Terry Bond fights through it, comes across the middle. This is his bread and butter, but look at, he gets a little separation from Mellon. Now Mellon thinks he's going down, but he refuses to be brought down. It is his yak yards, his yards after the catch, that truly makes number 3 outstanding.
Needed 20, got 30, and Ricky Ray's on fire. 7 for 7 out of the gate. And now Pringle across midfield as he put his head down and searches for another Eskimo first down.
And you gotta like the play selection. He knows he's gonna get the pressure from Saskatchewan. So what does he do? Let's run a little screen as we take a look at the super sophomore and look at the numbers, Chris, compared to those other great quarterbacks.
Potentially his last game in the Canadian Football League. Watched by NFL scouts throughout this season and likely to be headed south at the end of this year. Will that be after this week or next? 8 in a row for Ricky Ray. And he gets away from one and delivers incomplete. And he paid a price to throw that incompletion.
And you can hear the Saskatchewan bench yelling, settle down when you're going after the quarterback. You have to make those plays. You cannot allow a guy that has the presence on the football field, or Ricky Ray, he's got the spider sense, avoids Eddie Davis' sack attempt. People tries to come after him. Nate Davis very lucky not to get a late hit, but Ricky Ray, great presence to get rid of that football.
So his first misfire of the evening. And big Nate Davis, who marked his territory last week and paid a $300 fine, is revved up. 2nd and 10. Ray in trouble. Davis again. Ray escapes, and there's Winston October. And October tripped up at the 21.
Chris, what separates a good quarterback from a great quarterback? It's his ability to see his vision downfield. He is the Wayne Gretzky of the CFL. What great vision. Gets pressure, avoids the pressure. As we go, Mike Pringle's going to roll to the left. Now he's wide open. Now Ricky Ray thinks about throwing that football, but then he pump fakes. That freezes Nate Davis. That allows him to get to the outside. The receivers don't quit on the play. They keep working to get open. He finds him. Winston October, big catch.
Chris, how diversified is this Eskimo attack? That's the 8th receiver, the 8th different receiver to catch a Ray pass in this first quarter. And now Pringle down inside the 15-yard line on what is the final play of the opening quarter. What a performance by Ray. Eskimos with a slim lead, but threatening to add to it. Well, they expected over 40,000 for this Western final, and it looks like they've got that and more to see 2 hot teams. Saskatchewan, winners of 5 straight. The Eskimos have won 6 of their last 7.
I mean, there's a number of things to look at right here. Never mind the first downs, but just take a look at that. 126 yards passing, 0 for Saskatchewan. Basically, it comes down to this. Saskatchewan's only had 2 series. They've run 6 plays, and you're talking about Ricky Ray, who already in the first quarter has used 8 different receivers, as you've said earlier. He's 9 of 10. Pringle's getting the ball. He's 5 for 17. They are really doing a good job of mixing it up.
Every eligible receiver has caught a pass, except for those twin tights that come in just for that alignment on short yardage. 8th play of a drive that started at the Eskimo 25 and is now at the Saskatchewan 15. Like Pringle on 2nd and short, a first down as Pringle gets it inside the 10.
Mike Pringle's such a north-south runner, but he also has liberty to find out wherever the hole is, that's where he's going to go. You're going to see Troy Mills is going to roll, and Troy Mills is going to come block to the outside. And Mills, tell you what, Pringle just takes it right up inside. You see Mills, he thinks it's going to the outside. No way. 34 season opening, explodes to it, picks up a first down.
A couple of benchmarks when Pringle rushes 15 times or gains 60 yards. The Eskimos are unbeaten. Ray, and he tried to drop it off, and it hit the back of Shante Peoples, intended for Pringle.
This is one of those plays where Mike Pringle basically just got down the field a little too far in his route. Had he stayed back a little bit, that's exactly what he wanted. A little drop, little fake play action. He wants to give it to Pringle. You see Pringle not expected. He kind of goes down low, hits him in the leg. One of the very few misses by Ricky Ray.
2nd and goal from the 8. Mike Pringle caught 46 this year. The most receptions for Pringle since 1994 when he was in Baltimore. Ray into the end zone, Mills, touchdown! Seven-year-old Troy Mills with the first major score of this Western Final.
And they talked about what Mills brings to this team. Not only a great character guy, a leader in the locker room. They missed him last game of the season in Winnipeg, but they say, you know what, he's such a valuable blocker. What a receiver out of the backfield. That's exactly what he did. They're running a lot of misdirection. Vaughn will cut inside. Mills goes to the flat. Ricky Ray finds him, and the first touchdown of the afternoon.
Fleming the extra point. Mills the 8-yard touchdown catch. 9-0 Eskimos. 8 touchdowns on the year for Troy Mills, who Tom Higgins said is such a key cog in their offense.
Well, there's 3 guys here, and they do a great job of this. He's going to go through. He's going to hesitate and come through. Here's the guy that has to cover Mills in the flat, and he gets picked. Let's take a look at this thing in action right now. You can see a little misdirection. The middle linebacker, Terrence Melton, he doesn't even see him. This is the guy right there, and he's got to get over and pick up Mills in the flat. He just doesn't get over there.
So a 9-point lead as the Eskimos try to do their part in creating a Grey Cup rematch. Chris Sarka, one of the up men, runs over Winston October, and the big fullback has the return. Danny Barrett talked yesterday about weathering the storm, and he'll try and keep his team composed in this early deficit.
Remember, both teams won a football game. They split the season series this year. In both victories for either team, they got out to an early lead. That was really key. The big thing in their loss to Edmonton, Saskatchewan said they came back in the second half, weathered the storm, and almost pulled that game out.
Now they need Nealon Green throwing strikes. And on the ground, Kent Keith, tossed back by Kelvin Kinney. As we see how the Eskimos generated the touchdown drive.
Well, just getting Mike Pringle involved, little flat pass, breaks some tackles, takes it up the field, and then again, what presence. Ricky Ray running to the sideline, finds Winston October wide open in the flat, and it's all finished off with Sellers, little misdirection, comes free in the corner of the end zone.
So 2nd and 11, and Green needs a completion. Nealon Green, he'll reverse his field, and now dumps it off. It's complete. He has the first down at the 45 and got a wicked block as Donnie Brady, who's a heavy hitter in the Eskimos secondary, was on the receiving end.
Well, Donnie Brady was forced 7 fumbles, #1 in the CFL, 6 interceptions. I mean, he just gets picked off. Again, Nealon Green doing a good job of buying extra time, getting the ball to the speedster, Corey Grant. You can't see it, but to the left of that, we're going to see it right here. Dominguez, number 88, just laying the shoulder pads, catching Donnie Brady totally unaware, and you can hope that the best scenario is that he just knocked the wind out of him, Chris, and he'll be back. He is a force on this Eskimo defense.
Dominguez, 6'2", 220. He lowered the boom, and Brady getting attention as we take a timeout. Matt Dominguez lowered the boom on Donnie Brady. He did it against Troy Saunders of Hamilton earlier in the year, and now Brady's up. And this is one you like to listen to as well as see, unless you're Donnie Brady.
Well, it just goes to show you that you may not be the receiver of the football, but you can still do your part to make a contribution to the play. Matt Dominguez, as you say, lowering the boom on Donnie Brady, and it's a good thing because they only got one backup guy in the secondary, and that's Fabian Burke.
So Burke's in for Brady. Let's see if Green works that area after the 19-yard gain at the Eskimo 45. Nealon in trouble, and down he goes. The Boos is loose. Dorian Boos, and what an impact he's made on an improved Eskimo defensive line this year.
Well, Booth just comes from the middle, but it all starts from the outside. You got to get good pressure, and you can see 92. That's Kelvin Kinney. Now, what he does, even though he doesn't get to Nealon, is he forces him up into the pocket, and his partner, Dorian Booth, finishes him off.
Eskimos only had one sack against Green in the regular season. Second and long, downfield, and a catch is made, and that's Jason French, who was a reliable receiver for Green in the 2 games against Edmonton. He comes up limping, but a big catch there for Saskatchewan.
Well, again, the offensive line responding, giving Nealon Green the time to look downfield. And Jason French just finds the opening. Right in the coverage, you can see the Sammer strong side linebacker, Robert Grant. They do a lot of switching. He'll go to safety and try and fool the defense, get caught on that play. Jason French, who is the leading receiver against the Eskimos.
Yes, he had a 50-yard catch. That went 33 yards. Tebow in for French. Green fumbles the snap, and they do get back on it. Barely get back on it. That was an adventure.
Well, very fortunate to come back and with second effort recover that, because there were 3 Eskimos all around. He simply took his eyes off the ball. He was looking at the defense. When the ball came to him, he didn't expect it. But I tell you again, very fortunate to be able to get that back, as you can see, with a whole horde of the Eskimos ready to pounce on that and create the first turnover.
Loss of 16. Second and a big play needed. Blitz. Kenton Keith got some room. And Keith flying down, breaks the tackle. Away to the 3. And again, a penalty marker.
Now this will be an interesting call, because the holding was downfield. Kenton Keith, after getting that screen pass, went into a bit of a scrum where the linemen and the defense were blocking each other, and that was where the flag was thrown. So that's where they have to figure out where they're going to mark it from.
Holding, Saskatchewan, number 52. Repeat second down.
Donald Heaven, the left guard.
Well, Donald Heaven with the call, and he's just basically right on here. Just gonna keep blocking, and again, as he pulls him around, he tries to pull him around to get him away from Kenton Keith. The flag is thrown. Those are needless penalties, because Kenton Keith really had picked up valuable yardage on the play already.
So now it's second and 36. Keith needed 26. He got 28, but the penalty negates the big play. Here they come again. Green steps up, looks deep, open man, and Corey Grant can't wheel it in. And another flag is down. Nealon Green could have gone a long way, but then again, he had an open receiver in the end zone.
Well, he could have run with the ball. I like his decision, though. He threw this ball where only Corey Grant could come up with a catch. And
Offside. Edmonton, number 95. Repeat second down.
well, Albert Reese being offside jumping, but this is a play that Corey Grant, as he's watching, it's almost like slow motion from the receiver point of view. He sees the ball, it comes to him. He gets his hands on the football in the back of the end zone. He just can't come up with the catch.
So you can see Grant mulling over the missed chance. And it's second and only 31 after the offside. Green in trouble, and down he goes. 265 pounds. The replacement for the injured Alfred Payton with a sack. So the Eskimos have already exceeded their sack total against Saskatchewan from the regular season.
Well, he just works around. That is a great arm over. Grab the outside jersey of Thomas, get to the outside, and finish it off by bringing down an elusive quarterback, Nylon Green, for a sack.
They lose 6. The Eskimos D pushes Saskatchewan out of field goal range. McCallum, little squib kick to make sure it didn't go in, and it still does. He didn't give it much, and then dives in there trying to get the ball, and October picks it up and concedes the single point. So they tried to pin Edmonton. They'll have to take the point instead.
8:14 to play, second quarter. Eskimos in front, 9-1. The story on Donnie Brady, injured left shoulder. They think he might miss a series or two, but they're hoping to get him back into the game. Guys?
Well, Steve, as Chris mentioned, they do have Fabian Burke as the only other DB, except they do have the option of Robert Grant, the linebacker, dropping back into the secondary as well, but they'd like to get Donnie Brady back ASAP. Eskimos go back to work, and Hervey looks like he's going to have a big Western final, his third catch.
And we've talked about the fear that Ed Hervey gives to the cover men. McKellar is just going to sit back there, but he's giving Ed Hervey a 10-yard cushion. Now, Ricky Ray's going to take this all day. All he's going to do is it's a quick pass right to the outside. And then now, because you're so far back, that allows the speedster Hervey to break it back inside.
Ed Hervey, regarded by many as the fastest man in the Canadian Football League. First down, Terry Vaughn. Midfield and more, and another first down. A personal best year for a guy who is a perennial All-Canadian. Terry Vaughn, second in the league with 106 catches.
Well, you know, it's just a little hitch pass, but Ed Hervey made the catch the last play. What a great job of blocking right there by 81 to seal the defender to the outside. That allows Terry Vaughn to come back inside and pick up another first down. And this offense is really firing on all cylinders right now.
Rays 12 of 14, 165 yards. The touchdown pass to Mills. The last drive was 10 plays over 5 minutes. Now they swing it. That's a live football. And Saskatchewan's got it. Look out! Terrence Melton inside the 30. And Ricky Ray and Jason Tucker finally bring him down. That was a lateral, and the Eskimos gave up on the football.
They actually gave up, and it looked like when Terrence Melton picked up the ball, he wasn't sure himself, but he didn't hear the whistle, and he said, you know what? All right, I can take off with it. He makes a good decision to take off. Takes it all the way down to the Eskimo 20-yard line. Big break. Now it's a lateral. You can see the ball is behind the line of scrimmage. It just goes through, and now it drops. Now they give up on the ball. Tucker just goes, hey, I just didn't catch that football, but Melton picks it up, realizing it's a live ball, and then races downfield before brought down by the quarterback, Ricky Ray.
It ends up a 46-yard fumble return by Melton. Nylon Green rolls right. Open man. Travis Moore. Touchdown, but a flag has been thrown at the 5.
Well, they may call blocking by a receiver of Saskatchewan. It'll be interesting to see by the reaction of Travis Moore. You'd expect a little bit more jubilation after taking into the end zone.
Pass interference. Saskatchewan, number 89. Repeat first down.
They're going to call Jamal Richardson with the pick play that freed up Travis Moore. That's why he was so wide open on the right side of the football field when he made that catch.
So penalties continue to hurt Saskatchewan. And this has been a very disciplined football team down the stretch, in which they've won the 5 straight, including 4 in a row on the road.
Well, even last week, only 7 penalties last week for 40 yards.
So it's 1st and 20. And Green shakes away from the first surge and throws a completion. Corey Holmes with the catch at the 24.
He picks up about 6 yards.
Well, a little bit of magic shown by Nealon Green again to avoid the pressure. We're getting great penetration by the Eskimo defensive line. We take another look at that to see if it was trapped, and he's got his hand under the football. Referee right there is saying it's a catch. A lot of the Eskimos thought it hit the ground.
They got 7, but it's still 2nd and 13 for Saskatchewan. Green sets and throws downfield, and it's picked off. Donnie Brady back in the game, and he has the interception, 6 during the regular season, and a big turnover again as Saskatchewan squanders the scoring chance here in the Western Final. Well, he's been a one-man wrecking crew on defense this year. 6 interceptions, 7 forced fumbles, and he has a pick in the postseason.
Well, it all starts again, a little bit of pressure as you can see Nealon Green kind of sets back and throws off the back foot, but freeze it here and take a look at here's the intended receiver, here's where the ball comes. So unless he's going to the back of the end zone, this play is never going to work. And it's basically, I think Jason French just lost his sight where he was on the football field, and Donnie Brady came up with another big play.
Eskimos back on offense at the 25. Troy Mills all the way to the 45-yard line. So Mills with 2 big receptions in this first half. Donnie Brady, though, may have re-injured the shoulder on the interception.
But you gotta like him, you know, basically sacrificing the shoulder to come up with that big interception. Boy, what a year he's had. This 6 interceptions coming into the game, 7 forced fumbles, just a force all over the field.
You saw one of those picks was against Saskatchewan. He returned it 33 yards for a touchdown, but a pretty good resume for his first All-Star season. Here's Ray in trouble, shakes the first surge, and Ricky Ray close to a first down at the Edmonton 54. He needed the midfield stripe to move the chains.
Well, he's going to come up a little short, but if you want to question the strength of Ricky Ray, watch this. I mean, they get pressure on him. They try to shoulder tackle him, and he just shrugs them off. Now, there's good pressure. He sits back. He's going to get a little pressure. You can see there's Scott Scholl. He just kind of shrugs them off. Great presence of mind, a little pump fake to freeze the defense a little bit more, and picks up some yardage running the ball. And you can see Terry Vaughn waving for him over the middle. Expected the football right there.
2nd and 1, double tights in, and they push forward to move the chains. So Ricky Ray has been razor sharp in this first half, 6 300-yard passing games this year. And he came within 1 completion of the all-time record for best completion percentage in a season. That's held by Tom Clements. 1 completion more, he would have broken that record. And we have Phil Gibson, defensive tackle, getting attention on the field. And that Tom Clements mark came on 275 attempts. Ricky Ray threw the ball 515 times.
I tell you, it's just Ricky Ray is just continues to amaze people with his presence, his coolness. As you see, they're still working on Phil Gibson, who spent part of the year in Montreal. Just in the middle right there. Let's take a look. It's just a short yardage, and he just kind of gets buckled over. Good surge by the offensive line. You can see right there, he's just trying to get guys off right there. That's Kevin Lefsrud.
And they're checking the left knee, and Phil is up. What
you talk about Ricky Ray, the things he's done so successfully, he really is a master of mixing up his game plan. We've seen the screen, we've seen the shovel, we've seen the quick hitch, we've seen the deep ball. I mean, there's really nothing that he's left out of his playbook. He's really putting Saskatchewan's defense in a bind.
You know, we've seen him elusive tonight. We've seen him take off a couple of times. It's been the full resume for those scouts from south of the border. How about Steve Armitage? He goes down to do an interview with Jeff Garcia, and the first question Garcia asks is, how about this Ricky Ray guy? I hear he's pretty good. Yes, he's pretty good. And he has another completion. Rick Walters, who was with the Riders in '97 when they came into Edmonton's stadium and won a West Final, has a big catch. We'll take a timeout. Less than 3 minutes to go. First half. Eskimos threatening to add to their lead late in the first half of this Western Final.
But they're doing smart things. Now here's Ricky Walters. He's going to come and it's going to be the shovel. And that freezes Peoples, and that gives Ricky Ray all day to throw it. But look at, he was pointing over there. They recognized the mistake. He's wide open on the sidelines.
First and 10. 4 receivers went wide side, and instead Ray goes short side, incomplete. Looking for Terry Vaughn.
Again, the same play, nothing fancy, just going to run that fake shovel. If he's covered, he'll look at his second option down the field. This time he decides that Terry Vaughn has got to step on the defender. He's going to try and get on the football. Fortunately, just puts a little away from where Terry Vaughn can come up with the catch.
Danny Machocha sending in the next play. Wanted to say hello to his wife Sandra and his daughter Bianca, watching from Montreal, the home of the Eastern champions. Second and 10, rush on, Ray in trouble, and he grounds the football as Bobby Perry had him in the grasp, and that will be a grounding penalty.
Well, a good call grounding the football in the grasp, as you say, but again, another example of the strength of Ricky Ray. You know, they're bringing a blitz from both sides of the line, trying to keep him in the pocket and get to him. To get some pressure on him, but they can't bring him down.
Intentional grounding. Edmonton, number 15, third down.
Ricky Ray just going to sit back there. You can see they're bringing Bobby Perry. Now, Bobby Perry's got him in the grass right there. Darnell Kennedy comes up, and he's saying, you can see right there, looking at the official telling him that he was trying to release the football.
And so it's 3rd and 20. And Fleming in the punt. Loss of 8. Tried to angle it and didn't get a good angle. We got a little set 2. Roger Ryanson, Nate Davis. I don't see a flag. Roger, a native of Melville, grew up in Regina. He's made his way to the Grey Cup game on a number of occasions. Well, there's a lot of bad blood between these two rivals. And this was the scene at Taylor Field late in the first meeting of the year. And then at Commonwealth Stadium, we talked about the 4 ejections in the first game. Riders get the ball after a 21-yard punt by Fleming. They take it at their own 22. 4 possessions in this first half, 3 punts and an interception. 1 drop in the end zone, 1 interception in the end zone. And that's why Saskatchewan's down by 8. Dominguez to the 30. And there's Malcolm Crank, one of only 4 Eskimos still with the team from that 97 club that was upset by Saskatchewan.
Well, the biggest thing right now, if you're a Saskatchewan fan, is you're only down by 8 points. And we talked about it earlier. The biggest thing that Danny Barrett wants is for his team to weather the storm and then continue to strive to put something together offensively. As you can see, Dominguez just hanging outside, little hitch pass. Malcolm Frank, great form tackle, taking out the legs of the big receiver.
Second and a pair. They're going to throw for it. And it's incomplete. Kenton Keith out of the backfield, picked up by Singor Mobley.
Well, Ken Keith's just going to slide out of the backfield and picked up by the linebacker to the short side, who is Singor Mobley, who many feel had an outstanding year and should have warranted a West All-Star nomination. Just going to fly out there, tight coverage. But Ken Keith's got to come up with that. He got his hands on the football. Those are drive killers, and Danny Bear's going to have to get his team together on the bench and say, look, if you want to go to the Cup next week, we've got to start making those catches.
McCallum to put it away. Line drive away from October. And a bouncing ball is going to go right out of play. Terrific kick by McCallum, 51 yards, no return. And we should mention how well McCallum punted last week, and 5 return yards in 9 punts by the Bombers. And you know Saskatchewan fans loved last week, and the tractor factor here once again.
Well, they say there's many transplanted Saskatoon, Regina, Moose Jaw, all over the province that have moved to Edmonton.
And we can only imagine what Grey Cup week will be if the Saskatchewan Roughriders are the home team. We know it will be great either way. Ricky Ray trying to add to this lead in the late stages of the first half. Wide side, wide open. Jason Tucker. And he gets up to the 38. Well, this is a tough place to win at any time, but right now the Eskimos are on a home field roll.
Well, that's what you play for your whole year, to have it come down and play the final game, to go to the Cup in your home park. You know, their touchdowns for on home, 41 touchdowns at home, only 19 on the road. They love the comfort of living at home, staying here, getting together. And right now, I tell you again, Ricky Ray sitting back there looking off the safety.
Second and a yard. And Edwards was trying to prevent that yard as he filled the gap and met Mike Pringle. Let's see where they spot the ball. Should be enough.
Oh, Mike Pringle just off the left side picks up the first down. I like what the offensive line are doing. It's a little tougher to run block like that, but they're trying to fool the defense by lining up in a little bit of a pass set, a 2-point stance rather than going into a 3-point, which would indicate a run.
Clock running, minute 20 left, first half. Pringle has 25 on the ground for the Eskimos. First and 10. Ray loads it up, and it's picked. No, Jackie Mitchell dropped the ball. Looked like it would be an easy pick, and he had 7 of them in the regular season. Jason Tucker, the intended receiver.
Well, good cover downfield. Jackie Mitchell working, just covering the receiver all the way down the field. Almost comes up with an interception. It's almost like the defense of Saskatchewan is going to have to keep creating turnovers, hopefully allowing their offense to get into some kind of rhythm to kickstart them to get some points on the board.
Jackie Mitchell, recruited by the Eskimos in 2000, cut by the Eskimos. And since going to Saskatchewan, his best games have been against the green and gold. Second and 10. Ray on the roll. Hervey was jarred there. Davin Bush prevented Hervey from squeezing the pigskin. It'll be third down.
But again, the touch displayed by Ricky Ray. We've been ranting about this youngster all afternoon. He just puts it, just double coverage. He's working against Ladolfius McCalla, takes it to the outside. Now he's deep. There's Davin Bush coming from the outside. You know, he's got to catch that football. Again, that could have kept that drive alive.
Looked like Hervey jammed a finger there. He's getting attention. And Corey Holmes and Ladolfius McCalla are back. Short kick. McCalla running up, and he draws the penalty and gets across midfield. Good whistle by McCalla. And with 51 seconds remaining in this first half, good field position for Saskatchewan. after only a 23-yard punt. And there's Herbie. As they work on the left hand.
No yards. Edmonton number 96. Penalties declined. First down.
Well, they declined the 5-yard penalty because McCallum took it back more on the return.
You know, we talked about it last week. We talked about Nealon Green only being 5 of 15. 4 drop balls last week. We've seen a couple today. A touchdown by Corey Grant.
A late touchdown here, and they're in decent shape, but he underthrows Jamal Richardson. I was interested about Danny Barrett's comments last week. He was asked about Nealon only completing 33% of his passes. He said, last year, Anthony Calvillo completed 35% in the Grey Cup game, and he was the Grey Cup MVP.
But
That's the stat.
But he got the big plays when he had to. He got Copeland, he got Woodcock, he got the big plays. I mean, they'll take it any time, and if he does that today and he gets you the victory, who cares about stats?
2nd and 10. Green. And it's incomplete. Intended for Dominguez. And you can hear the Saskatchewan bench. They felt Crutchfield interfered.
Crutchfield coming back, playing the ball. Matt Dominguez coming back as we see Ed Herbie leaving. Going to get some attention to that left hand. Dominguez just lining as the wide out to the wide side of the field. Stop. And he's going to come back to the football, and you can see right there, Crutchfield's over his back, and that's probably why the whole bench of Saskatchewan was yelling interference.
October awaits. Callow, another great punt. Winston October up to the 19. 29 seconds remaining. A 50-yard punt by Paul McCallum, and we'll check in with Steve Armitage.
Chris, I can't tell you exactly what the nature of Hervey's injury is, but they had to pop the finger back in. It was bleeding quite profusely. They stopped the bleeding. He has left the field, gone to the room. Hard to say whether he'll be back in the second half.
And even as he was approaching the dressing room, he was in obvious pain. He may have a Chris Wolby-looking hand by the end of the day.
Not a comfortable feeling.
There's Mike Pringle crashing to the 30. Said he felt as fresh as he's ever felt at this time of the year. And that was the goal for the Eskimos all year, to make sure he was at his peak at this time.
Yeah, and the biggest thing that I noticed about Mike Pringle is he looks like he's having fun. He smiles in practice. The linemen truly like him. He feels like he's a real part of this, you know, this real tough offense right now. He's not the main part, and he likes that. He doesn't want to be the feature guy. He likes the fact that he sped around with Vaughn and Tucker and Herbie and all those other players.
Eskimos had a timeout, but have elected to let the clock run. And Ray will have to get another play in. Well, they did run it off. And the first half is in the books. Ricky Ray was razor sharp, and yet it is just an 8-point lead at the half. And if you check the stats, it felt like Danny Barrett's team could have been down by a lot more.
Well, that's what they wanted. They said the longer we keep the ball, the longer we keep Nealon on the sidelines. That first half was worked to perfection.
Let's go back and rejoin Steve Armitage.
Thank you very much, Chris. Tom, I just saw you in conversation with your training staff. What did they tell you?
Donnie Brady needs to be checked out shoulder. He heard it when he took the shot and they came out, but he also heard it when he got the interception. He just realized that that's when he hurt himself.
That's as diverse an offense as we've seen from the Eskimos all year. Looks like he put that extra bye week to good work.
So far, so good. It is. It's you worry about coming out a little bit stale, but it was a good first half.
Congratulations on the first half. Good luck in the second.
Thank you.
The Edmonton Eskimos and Tom Higgins head to the room with an 8-point lead. The Eskimos 9, Saskatchewan 1. You're watching the CFL on CBC.
At the half, back live in Montreal as promised. Don Matthews joins us. Congratulations. And Sean Millington, you get the first question.
Well, Don, yesterday in talking to you, you said that you guys had a running game. Despite comments to the contrary, you said you'd have a running game when it counts.
Well, Sean, you've played for me before. You know I've been able to hand the ball off. I remember one time when you were playing for me, I gave it to you about 30 times.
Yep,
and,
fair enough.
You ran for about 230
heart,
yards, so I understand.
Bless your heart, Don. Bless your heart.
How about Whitaker and Lapointe today?
Yeah, you know, those two guys share our running back duties, and when we have to, they pick up big yards for us. But we're not a running team, but they do change the momentum a little bit, and they do pick up some big yardage. We put in a new little trap play for Whitaker, and I think we called it about 4 or 5 times. He had some big yardage, so it was fun to do.
Greg?
We obviously made some adjustments at halftime, both offensively and defensively. Maybe speak to that.
Well, first of all, I thought Anthony was getting a better rhythm just before the half ended.
Yeah,
if you remember
definitely.
that, he was starting to feel the game a little bit better and making some plays and moving the ball down the field. So I think we just carried over on that. Defensively, what we did is they were in their jumbo package a lot, and so I have such a variety of players. Like Tim Strickland is a linebacker, but he is a defensive back by trade, and so we were able to cheat him out into the coverage a little bit more to take away some of the things they were doing, and it worked pretty well.
Danny?
Yeah, you talked about Anthony. What can you say about his play today?
You know what? He's a little bit maligned, as you know, some quarterbacks get that way.
He runs like McManus, so
Wait, don't put it that way.
You know what was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life was they said Doug Flutie couldn't play in the cold. Do you remember that when he was in Calgary, and all of a sudden he's just wonderful and does all these things. And Anthony Carrillo doesn't make good plays in the playoffs and stuff. Anthony's a quality guy, and you know what? Right now, if I'm going to war with a guy at quarterback, I want AC with me.
Hey, we got just a couple of seconds. You said to me yesterday, Stokes, they talk about Livingston. Stokes is a great returner, but he was trying for the big one too often instead of 20, 30 yards. He looked to be like that early, then he settled down. Do we have the right read on that?
Oh, absolutely. And Stokes, you know, he had great success early in the year and popped some big ones, and now he says, if I don't score a touchdown, maybe I'm not doing my job. Or in his mind, he thinks that, and that's not really accurate. So I said, hey, don't be embarrassed with a 20-yard gain. Go ahead, just pop it on up there, and he did a great job.
Congratulations. Some nice thoughts. You won in Regina with Baltimore, remember?
I've been there before. I know that, the lay of the land, and I'm looking forward to it.
All right, Don Matthews and the Alouettes going to the Grey Cup next Sunday. We'll go back to Chris Cuthbert, Chris Walby, and Steve Armitage in Edmonton for the second half.
Well, how can you tell that our director, Ron Forsyth, is an astronomy buff? We do know they'll be over the moon in Regina if Saskatchewan can be the home team in the Grey Cup, but they trail by 8 as we get set for the second half. And right now, let's join Steve Armitage.
The Riders down by 8 points as we begin the second half. Danny, you talked about weathering the storm. Did you do that in the first half?
We did, you know, and that's what I love about the CFL. In spite of all that's taking place against us, we're still in it. We weathered the storm. We kept our composure. Now the next 30 minutes or so we really made up.
What do you have to do to get this offense going?
Just get into a rhythm. We need to capitalize when we're down, especially in the scoring zone. All points are good points, and we need to realize that.
Thank you, Danny. Good luck.
Thank you.
Chris, up to you.
Yes, in some ways, you could say they couldn't play much worse in the first half and still be very much in this game.
Hey, listen, when you're only down by 8 points, that's a blessing. Right now, you're one touchdown, you're right back in a football game. Conversely, if I look at Edmonton, I'm saying, hey, we need to get the killer instinct. We've had the ball twice as long as Saskatchewan, and we've only managed to put on 9 points.
Here's Corey Grant. And Grant with a great burst up near the 50-yard line. And another Grant, Robert, brought him down. That's the kind of return they need to improve these stats.
Well, these stats don't lie. I mean, you heard Danny Barrett talk about building a rhythm for his offense. This is what hurts him right now. You want to put some drives together, you've got to put a string of first downs together, move that football. Kenton Keith, where is he? I haven't seen him. Travis Moore, 1 catch, was called back for a supposed illegal block. I mean, you got to get everybody involved right now, and you got to string something together.
Nealon Green with the carry, tossed back by Steve Charbonneau. A little misdirection as he faked to Keith. We'll check Nealon Green's distribution of the football.
Well, you can see right now it's all to the right side. Nealon Green has not thrown one pass over to the left. It's all over here on the right. And again, only 4 completions out of 10 attempts. It's almost starting to turn into a replay of last week against Winnipeg.
Last 3 halves of football, he's 9 for 25, only 160 yards. 2nd and 9, Green. Let's go! Coleman, the safety, was in the neighborhood intended for Travis Moore.
Well, we talked about the fact that you got to get Travis Moore involved in this football game. He's a leader. He's a 3-time CFL All-Star. You got to get him. He's been in these big games. Someone has got to take the leadership role right now. But you got to give credit to the secondary of the Eskimos, who are doing a great job of shutting down Moore and limiting Dominguez's gains after he makes a catch.
Travis Moore still looking for his first postseason catch as a Rough Rider.
Go get it.
Not a good McCallum punt, but it will bounce out, so no return. At the Edmonton 30-yard line, a 30-yard punt by Paul McCallum. And Ricky Ray will check his diversified passing chart in the first half.
Well, you can see, we saw Nealon Green only throwing to the right side of the football field. Look at how Ricky Ray has utilized the entire field. He's gone short with the dump pass. Those are basically shovel passes. He's gone medium, and he's gone deep and stretched that defense with success.
No Ed Hervey in this offense to start the second half. Mike Pringle, a couple of hard yards, ran into the defensive end, Marcus Adams.
Well, Mike Pringle, who 8 carries in the first half. As we all know, following Mike Pringle's career, he gets stronger as the game goes on. So watch for Edmonton to start pounding the ball a little bit more in the second half with Mike Pringle.
Jason Tucker goes from slot to wideout. Rick Walters and Terry Vaughn inside. Scott Robinson the other wideout. And this ball nearly picked off. A good defensive play by Gavin Bush as he stepped in front of Terry Vaughn.
It's all about making adjustments when the ball is in the air, and Gavin Bush just that. He's still down. You can see him. He's hurt himself on the Eskimo sideline right there. But Terry Vaughn just going to come down the seam and break it toward the sideline with 31. Gavin Bush, as he sees the ball, makes the break on the football, goes down. Doesn't look like he goes down hard. You can see him kind of get up, jogging it off back to his side of the field. But boy, that was a nice job of covering one of the more elusive receivers.
Danny Barrett calling Bush his most improved player. McCalla back as both teams trade 2 and outs to start the second half.
And I think it was really important for Saskatchewan to set the tone defensively. Stop what has really been an Eskimo offensive show in the first half.
Better Fleming punt. McCalla from his 35. Obvious McCalla, and then he's nailed after a 10-yard return. There's the middle linebacker, A.J. Gatz. Early second half of the Western Final. Ed Hervey has just returned to the Eskimo bench. Has a glove on the injured left hand.
Well, I got to tell you what, Saskatchewan very lucky didn't get called for a clipping, because you're going to see Kennedy and Kayasin. Now take a look where the helmet is. It's behind, and that's Roger Ryanson. That's a clip. Very fortunate that didn't go backwards.
Good starting position, 45. Kenton Keith, the sweep. Trying to turn it upfield. And he does get 5 to the 50. And I know my offensive coordinator in the booth always feels you've got to establish a running game.
Well, take a look. This is self-explanatory. Look at the 2 rushes, 3. Here's a guy last week had 140 yards, and look where they all are. Straight up the middle. This is Mike Pringle type running. This is a guy that can scatter. Get him on the outside, make him one-on-one situations.
That chart was from the first half. He just exceeded his first half numbers with a 5-yard pickup.
Surprise, Chris, he's not in the game. They keep substituting him and Corey Holmes.
6 receivers, 2nd and 5. Green looked one way, and now will run to midfield, a yard short of the first down. You trail by 8. It's early second half. They didn't gamble on a short yardage situation in the first half. What does Danny Barrett do here?
Well, again, he's going to look to throw the football, and he sees nothing. He pulls it down. He's going to try and scramble, pick up first down. But as they measure, we talked earlier, now Ken Keith, he's only got 3 carries. They're substituting him with Corey Holmes. And I think it's hurting them because here's a guy that exploded on his team. 3 touchdowns last week, really responsible for beating Winnipeg. And all of a sudden, he's just doing shift work today. And I think if you're going to win, you keep your best players in. And that's not to say that Corey Holmes is not an exciting player. But I think when you got a guy with the explosive Kenton Keith, you got to get him involved in the game, not just in situational.
Well, they did gamble last week. Chris Zarka with a key 3rd and 1 carry, but for the second time here, they'll try the field position game. McCallum, the punt, and Winston October is going to let it bounce into the end zone and concede the single point. So it is 8-2 in favor of the Eskimos. 9-2. And look what's coming up. Chris Walby's Warriors 6, the 6th annual unveiling of Walby's team of true CFL Warriors. 4 o'clock Eastern on Grey Cup Sunday. Pretty good animation there, big man.
Tell you. I get excited by that. Boy, you got to give some of the guys in the back end. The Winnipeg plant some credit for putting together a beautiful thing. Denny Lavoie, great job. He's been busted at 24/7 putting that together.
There's Donnie Brady back on the bench now. Will we see him? Injured shoulder first half. It is 9-2. Edmonton with the lead. And a first down. Ricky Ray over the middle. Look who's back. And away he goes. Ed Hervey. And caught. Pushed out by Eddie Davis at the 6.
Well, I tell you what, if you're an Edmonton fan, you're excited to see number 81 back in your lineup. He just gets one-on-one coverage with Omar Morgan. All he's going to do is come from the outside right across the middle of the football field. Once he gets the separation, Ricky Ray puts him the ball right in his hands, and then 81 does what he does best, turn on the afterburners. And I tell you what, Eddie Davis takes him out on the 6-yard line, but an outstanding display. Here's a guy that had to go get his hand was bleeding, finger was disjointed. That's a warrior right there, Ed Hervey.
All-American track star at the University of Southern California. In his 5th year with the Eskimos, 69 yards, twin tights, 1st and goal. Dumped off, Pringle at the 2. Reggie Hunt says he dropped the ball. And they are ruling a catch.
Edmonton has made a living off this play, just simply running again. Just a little shovel dump-off pass where Mike Pringle will just kind of slide from the running back position across the middle and just catch the short pass. And this time brought down short of the goal line.
No question a catch, and this usually is Mike Pringle territory. Mike Pringle, touchdown. And Mike Pringle expands the Eskimo lead.
Well, Mike Pringle with his 14th rushing touchdown of the season. Nothing fancy, just behind the big boys up front, Kaminsky, Beaton, and Princeton. And he doesn't get touched until he's in the end zone.
I'm talking about the jumble.
Said yesterday, Regina puts on the best Grey Cup. I want to be there. Fleming's there, extra point, and it's now a 14-point Eskimo lead. Mike Pringle saluting the big boys up front that made that touchdown happen.
Well, I tell you, these guys, it's just straight. They're just going to bring it down, and Bruce Beaton does a nice job of bringing everybody. They score. It's called scoring with the defense. When you push the entire defense, you see Scott Schultz being knocked all the way back into the end zone. That's called scoring with the defensive lineman. And when you do that, I tell you what, your back is going to make it every time. Mike Pringle with his 14th rushing touchdown of the season. and a big one, giving Edmonton a 14-point lead early in the third quarter.
Scott Schultz said yesterday, this is the best offensive line I have to go against. He doesn't like them, but he does respect them. High, short kickoff, and it's Buffon, one of the up men, who has the ball and finds a little running room. The University of Alberta product takes the short kickoff back, 14, and let's see how the Eskimos generated that drive.
Well, basically, it's number 81, Ed Hurd with a speedster who takes it 69 yards down to the 6-yard line. Little dump pass over to Mike Pringle, and he's going to finish the drive off from 2 yards out, right behind that big offensive line, giving them a 16-2 lead.
Well, Saskatchewan needs to answer. Nealon Green remains the quarterback. Gets away from the first wave. And he has Dominguez. And Dominguez pays the price. He was nailed by A.J. Gass, close to a first down on the Eskimo side of half.
Well, Chris, Nealon Green really just doing things, whatever he has to do to get this offense in some sort of rhythm. Again, pressure. They have not handled the Edmonton defensive line. They have got in Nealon's face all afternoon.
Sarka out. The hurry-up offense is in operation. And the ball knocked down by Shannon Garrett, a former rider, a veteran of this league, an all-star, 9 years in the league. Never won a playoff game until last year.
Well, once again, Nealon trying to get the ball to Travis Moore, trying to get him involved. He's going to sit down, but boy, 23, Shannon Garrett, one of the best covered guys in the CFL. That is absolutely beautiful timing to come over, don't make contact with the receiver, and knock the ball out of his hands.
Started the year at safety, but they missed his one-on-one covering. 2nd and 10. Green can't find anybody. Might take off. He does. Nealon Green trying to do it on his own, and he only gets halfway to the first down.
Well, the secondary of the Eskimos does a wonderful job of not allowing any of the rider receivers to come open. That forces Nealon Green to actually pull it down and actually try and do something himself. You see Charles Thomas working on Calvin Kinney. Now Nealon's going to come back to the left side. Nothing to the left side. He's going to roll to the right. Still nothing. But now it's a question of just trying to get anything positive running the football.
Once again, Paul McCallum, and he doesn't want a single here. He wants to pin them. Angling the punt, and this one will bounce out. That's a good kick that they'll mark around the 10, the 35-yard McCallum boots. And once again, a reminder, we'll unveil a brand new CBC Sports Saturday with your host, Scott Russell, November the 29th. As they journey across Canada each week to deliver stories of Canadian athletes taking on the best in the world. Well, what a backdrop it is. Another huge throng on hand at Commonwealth. And the bulk of them are enjoying what's transpired. Ray just gets that away, intended for Troy Mills. Shante Peoples was bearing down.
Shante putting a little pressure on him, coming from the bottom of your screen. Unblocked, they're trying to set something up, and timing just a little off on that play.
And while Ricky Ray has been hot, Kevin Glenn starts to heat up.
Well, I think this is a good move. Kevin Glenn's won some big games for him all year, and I think, you know what, you have to do something to jumpstart this offense.
2nd and 10. Ray steps up, and he'll run for a first down, and out of bounds before Reggie Hunt could lay a lick on him.
You know, they talk about football. One of the biggest things they say is it's your ability to execute the offensive play, but it's also your ability to improvise when you cannot execute said play. Now look, he's looking to go downfield. Can't find nothing. Again, a pump fake. Terry Vaughn going to kind of come up there and try and help on a block on Reggie Hunt, but once again, Ricky Ray doing whatever it takes to move the ball and keep them with the possession.
13 yards and an Eskimo first down. On the draw, Pringle to the 25 and tossed back.
Mike Pringle again with a carry, tough yardage up the middle. As we take a look at Mike Pringle's rushing chart, obviously a lot of it, as we all know, a north-south runner, and it's all up the middle, 8 for 40 up the middle, but he has cut back 2 yards, and that was on the touchdown. He's going to do whatever he can to be a part of this offense and their success, hopefully taking them to Regina next week to meet Montreal.
Ninth-time divisional all-star, 2nd and 8. Ray has another completion, and Ed Hervey has had quite a day.
Well, you talked about the speed of Ed Hervey and the fact that they play off him. They're scared to come up and play bump and run on him because if they miss their jam, he's going to be behind him so fast. It's a quick score, so they play off. They give him a little bit of room. Now that allows him to play in the zone, sit down, and it also allows him to do crossing patterns when he comes across the middle, as he's done earlier for 69 yards.
It's been all Edmonton statistically, and a 2-touchdown lead to boot. Pringle, Nate Davis hauls him down.
You see Nate Davis fired up, trying to get his team jacked up. And Mike Pringle, nothing fancy, but boy, I tell you what, if there was an award, Chris, for the comeback player of the year, you'd have to give it to that man, 34. The work ethic is unbelievable. He says he feels like a 21-year-old. He's had the year off last year, came back from ACL surgery. He says, you know what, I heard that it takes 2 years to be fully recovered. He says, watch out next year.
There's a flat pass, Terry Vaughn. Yards after the carry, his trademark, and you see more evidence of that. Another Eskimo first down.
Again, it's just a case of everybody contributing. I don't care who's catching the football or carrying the football, but I mean, they're all trying to make things happen after they get their hands on the football. It's like they're each trying to outdo each other. And again, look at Terry Vaughn refusing. You know, it takes 3 Roughriders to get him out of bounds.
Well, Vaughn and Hervey were disappointed with their output in the Grey Cup last year, trying for another chance. And here's a reverse. Winston October trying to turn the corner, and he hurdles across midfield. Looked like Ricky Ray got nicked a bit there. He was on the limp and trying to shake it off. Nothing serious. And 5 for October on that Eskimo gadget play.
Well, gadget play, trick play, whatever you want to call it. But again, it's something different. Now, Ricky Ray's going to sell out on that play. He takes a hit after delivering the reverse pitch to Winston October, who tries to high hurdle over the tackler. But again, it's a different thing, a different look, and it's keeping this defense off balance.
Scott Schultz got a hit in. It almost looked like that first step by Ray gave him trouble as well. He loads it up. Jason Tucker, pass interference. Double team, veteran Eddie Davis and the safety Darnell Edwards, and the flag comes out.
Well, as you say, double coverage with the safety Darnell Edwards and Eddie Davis, and the reason the flag is thrown is simple. They don't allow...
Pass interference, Saskatchewan number 29, first down.
They don't allow Jason Tucker a chance to come back to the football. They basically block him away. The official's going to throw that flag every time. See, he's looking at the football. He knows where the ball is, and as he stops to try and come back, Eddie Davis doesn't allow him to come back to the football, and the flag is thrown. Interference more on Eddie Davis than Darnell Edwards.
Not his favorite place. He broke his arm here last year in '99. He tore knee ligaments here. And now the option toss to Pringle. Bounced off the first tackle inside the 5. More vintage Pringle stuff.
And we talked about the fact that in the first half with only a 9-1 lead, that Edmonton would have to develop a little bit of a killer instinct. Well, they've come out in this third quarter march the football down the field, and now they're putting touchdowns on the board. Another wrinkle. Now they're going to do the option with Mike Pringle. You can see the contact down there. He's refusing again to be brought down. They're having fun out here. I mean, this game is by no means out of hand for Edmonton, but they are really taking it to the Saskatchewan defense right now.
Another 5-minute plus drive. They are that short from a first down, and not much more for a touchdown. Terry Vaughn getting a look-see on the bench as he came off limping.
Well, they'll take a look. You know you won't keep him out of this ball game, but again, the fact is it's first down on the, or second down, excuse me, on the 1.5-yard line. You can kind of expect Mike Pringle to get the ball in this situation.
Let's guess. Let's go out on a big limb.
Should we go on a limb and lay some money on this one?
This is one of those, you know what we're going to do, try and stop us. Yep. And they signal a touchdown. Pringle broke the plane. Terrence Melton says, no, he didn't. But the officials get the last word.
Well, it's a situation again where the lead blocker, Troy Mills, is going to go to the left side. Everyone expects him to go behind the lead blocker. He just cuts it backward. The first opening he sees, it ends up being straight ahead, lower the shoulder, runs actually into his own lineman. Now, I don't know if he got across that line, that goal line right now. I think the official right there standing on the goal line, a little gracious with the call. You may want to take another look at that because I don't believe the ball crossed the goal line.
Don't know if it's as critical a call as the Anthony Calvillo goal line controversy, but it expands the Eskimo lead. They work together in Montreal and their successful team here again. What a drive by the Eskimos.
Well, I'll tell you what, is it a touchdown? I really don't think so, but you be the judge. Take a look, you freeze it right there. Now, I want you to see something. There's the football right there. Now, it just comes right here, and here's the goal line. He has not crossed the goal line. Mike Pringle, the recipient of a gracious call by the official.
Corey Holmes in Saskatchewan needs something big. But Singer Mobley not going to let it be a big kickoff return after Mike Pringle's second touchdown carry of the game.
Well, they just throw the ball and they give it to all their players to have some fun with it. Terry Vaughn, the pass interference call on Jason Tucker by Eddie Davis. And then again, Mike Pringle scores from 2 yards out to give Edmonton a commanding lead right now of 23-2.
Nealon Green now watching. Kevin Glenn at the controls. 4 appearances in the regular season. That ball incomplete. Intended for Jason French. Glenn either started or relieved in 4 games. 3 Saskatchewan wins. His latest was a last-minute relief job that produced the winning field goal in BC. But Nealon Green coming back to Edmonton. 5 completions last week, 5 this week. Not enough.
We had the one drop in the end zone by Corey Grant. And again, hindsight tells us what would have happened had he caught that football, but that's why they call it hindsight.
2nd and 10. Glenn underneath. And Dominguez met by A.J. Gass. A first down, Roughriders.
Well, nice presence in the pocket by Kevin Glenn, sitting back there, fully expecting the pressure and delivering a nice strike to Matt Dominguez, who just kind of bounces back into the middle of the football field, makes a nice catch, and then lowers his own shoulder, delivering a blow to A.J. Gass.
Dominguez over 1,000 yards. 7th best in the league, first down. And they go back there. And he's tossed back by Malcolm Frank, but Dominguez the spot of the ball should be close to a first down.
And what I'm seeing right now, and I know it's early, Chris, is the fact that Kevin Glenn is making quick decisions. He's not sitting back there. Nealon Green would take the ball. He was hesitating. And a lot of times that forced him to put the ball down and run with it. Right now, Kevin Glenn is just throwing the football. He's getting his read, and he's delivering the football right now. Take a look at Travis Moore. He's wide. He wants the football. Donnie Brady there. A lot of frustration being shown by Travis Moore, who has not been a big part of these last two football games. And really kind of disappointed in that.
Yes, Travis Moore won a pair of cups with Calgary, 98, 2001. He's the leader of that receiving corps. It is a first down. It's led again quickly to work. And there's Travis Moore. And he's jolted out of bounds. But suddenly Saskatchewan's got something going in the final minute of the third quarter.
Again, it's a scenario, Chris, where this is why you have a backup quarterback. Now remember, Kevin Glenn has had the luxury of being on the sidelines watching what the Eskimo defense has been doing. But again, I'm going to reiterate, I like the way he's delivering the football. He's making a quick decision, and he's getting it into the receiver's hands quickly.
First catch of the postseason for Moore comes with a minute to go. Third quarter, 2nd and 3. Again, quickly, and that one falls incomplete. Singer Mobley in coverage. Kenton Keith out of the backfield.
Well, that ball looked just a little behind Kenton Keith, who tried to look like reach back and grab that. Tight coverage on the play by Singer Mobley. Kenton Keith not happy about that. Again, just another sideline pass. You can see just behind Kenton Keith, forcing him to kind of turn around and try and get one hand on that football, unable to bring it in. And once again, as has happened all too often, Paul McCallum is on to punt the football.
Last time, pinned Edmonton deep, and all they did was march 100 yards. Here's October from his 3. Well, they've got him back there again. Good downfield coverage by Terrence Melton. And the Eskimos deep in their own zone. Grey Cup Sunday, Taylor Field. We're looking forward to it. Our coverage beginning at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Montreal has already confirmed its reservation, and it is looking very much like a rematch. In the late 70s, the Alouettes and the Eskimos met 3 straight years, and well, right now Ricky Ray and company just over 1 quarter away from completing a Grey Cup rematch again. Pringle. And Mike Pringle, look at this! Vintage Mike Pringle. Well, it looked like he was stopped after a yard or 2. That's the final play of the third quarter. We are 1 quarter away from determining the second Grey Cup finalist. And right now the Eskimos with a stranglehold on home turf. When they try to back up the Eskimos, Edmonton gives the ball to Mike Pringle.
Watch him break the tackle. I mean, this is pure determination. If you want to see something that exemplifies what Edmonton has done today, it's right there. That picture's worth 1,000 words, Chris. Mike Pringle just busting it and moving it and do whatever he can do to help this offense.
29 yards. Ray Vaughn at the 50 to midfield. Little hop, skip, and jump from Terry Vaughn for 15 yards. And we check the stats through 45 minutes.
Well, I mean, a lot of times people are going to tell you stats don't tell you the whole story. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, the stats here do tell the whole story. 24 first downs, only 6 for Saskatchewan. Look at the passing yards, 310. But the time of possession, every time Edmonton gets the ball offensively, they are eating up the clock. And I don't care if it's Nealon Green or now Kevin Glenn. They just are cold coming in, and they can't get any rhythm or anything going up extra.
Pringle straight ahead. And he rips off 7 more. And the man who has 7,100-yard rushing games is getting close to another in the postseason.
Well, you also know that with the 23-2 lead, that it's truly apparent that Mike Pringle will be even a bigger focus in this fourth quarter.
Second and 3. Pringle, and he'll be stopped short, about a yard away from the first down. Terrence Melton, the middle linebacker.
Well, I tell you right now, they may come up a little short, but if I'm Coach Higgins right now, I'm gonna, you know what, I'm gonna send a little statement right now. This offense has been firing on all cylinders. They haven't stopped us in short yardage yet. I don't care for third and 1, third 1.5. We're gonna go for it, bring the big boys in, bring Groenewegen in, bring Carlo Panero, the other offensive lineman, and let's just do it. Nothing fancy. Let's just pick up another first down and eat up some more of the clock.
Yes, the Buffet boys are in. Third to yard, and it's Mills lunging easily.
Now I gotta tell you, you gotta love this guy, Millsy. Was out of football last year. They brought him back for the Grey Cup. John Avery couldn't get the job done. He was too slippery out there. They brought Mills in against Montreal, and he really gave Edmonton's offense some life. That got him the invite back to training camp. Such an unselfish player. He's not the role player. Remember, this is a guy that twice during his career rushed for over 1,000 yards, but he's happy to be a role player as a blocker, and as you say, one of the best short yardage guys in the league.
87 yards in last year's Grey Cup game. Ricky Ray dumps it off. Pringle. Again, the first man can't bring him down. Melton forced him out, but he's down to the 36.
There's always a sign, certain signs in a football game when I know a team is thinking about next year. How do I know that? Watch Mike Pringle. He makes the catch now. Reggie Hunt makes the play. He's finally pushed out by a teammate, Melton. Nobody gets up. Nobody congratulates each other. It's like, let's get back in the huddle, see what happens next.
It has been a demoralizing day for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 3 minutes into the fourth quarter. Second down, and it's Mills. Troy Mills to the 20. And the Eskimos are starting to add the exclamation points on this Western final.
Well, let's see. We throw the little bit of outlet pass to Mike Pringle to the left. Let's come back to the right. We just talked about Troy Mills. Let's give him the football. Let's let him be a part of this offensive juggernaut that's really causing mayhem to the Rough Rider defense. I mean, their heads are down right now. They're looking at the clock. I don't see any life. They're doing their best. They just can't stop this offensive weapon.
16 for Mills. Got a touchdown pass earlier. Ray, and that ball knocked down, intended for Pringle, and good athletic play by Shante Peoples.
Here's a game of basketball. Ricky Ray going to go to the hoop. Shante Peoples just stopping. Look, he's just reading him. He goes, throws the ball. Peoples times his jump, knocks it down. In basketball, that would be a great play. That's a great play in football as well.
Just the 8th incompletion for the Eskimo quarterback today. His best playoff game. This his 3rd in the postseason. 2nd and 10. He looked all over the field and then finally finds an open receiver, Jason Tucker.
Chris, I got to tell you something. When I compare quarterbacks, we saw earlier in the game, we watched Jason Tucker. I'm going to come back to that thought in a minute. Look, he gets knocked down by Reggie Hunt, gets up, still works open, makes the catch. That's what you want out of your guys. They're fighting to keep the ball alive. But Ricky Ray, you know what I like? You looked at the chart about Nealon Green. Did not throw one ball to the left. He looks all over. He throws the ball to the left. He looks off the safety to the left. Then he comes back all the way across the field to the right. Incredible presence of knowing where his receivers are and finding them on the football field.
Looked like his third read. Jason Tucker gets up.
And maybe we should give some credit to that offensive line again, because when they're pounding the ball and wearing out that defensive line, now it's allowing that offensive line, which is good to start off with, to give them some extra time to find the receivers downfield.
You know what amazes Eskimo people the most about Ricky Ray is not only did he burst onto the scene, but he never really apprenticed under a veteran quarterback. He came out of nowhere and pushes ahead for a first down.
Well, I mean, I remember him in the beginning of the year, and I was really impressed with one of his comments. He said, everybody says, you had a great freshman year. What's going to happen in your sophomore year? He says, well, you know what? The defenses have seen me, so they'll be able to react to me. That's how modest this young gentleman is. And yet he's just come out, and basically you saw his stats versus 2 years versus the other quarterbacks like Warren Moon and Dunnigan and Hammond. I mean, they're not even close.
As cool under pressure as an Edmonton November evening, and he has put on quite a show. Eskimos knocking at the door again. First and goal from the 8. And Ray rolls. Ray pulls it down. Ray in. Touchdown, Edmonton.
Chris, when you run the ball up the middle as successfully as Edmonton has done, or as many times as Edmonton has done, and then you run the play action. Now, two things got to happen. One, Mike Pringle has got to sell the fact that he's got the football. He does a great job of going into the line like he's actually carrying the football. That allows Ricky Ray to come around and just run into the end zone to put up another touchdown and put another nail in the hopes of the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Great job.
Well, the only bad news for Eskimo fans is how can the NFL scouts not be impressed with the show he's putting on? It won't be his last game in the CFL. Ricky Ray's got Edmonton going to Regina. That Rough Rider dream of a home date in the Grey Cup dying, and Ricky Ray may not be any better than this in his CFL career.
Well, we talked about what running the ball is. Look at, here's Mike Pringle. He's going to go. Watch how this end bites on it, and that allows Ricky Ray to get to the outside. When you run the ball successfully, that end just bites. Come on down. And then it's a race to the end zone, and Ricky Ray beats Marcus Adams to score.
Corey Holmes from his 14. Flag down as Holmes crossed the 35. And while we sort out the flag, we'll take a timeout. A 28-point lead. 21 second half Edmonton points, 3 straight touchdown drives. Here's the latest.
Boy, they just continue to mix it up. It starts off with Pringle. Watch him break tackles, get out in the open and get those legs churning, not until Mitchell forces him out. And then let's get his backmate Troy Mills involved with a swing pass, and then the play action bootleg, and Ricky Ray finishes it off himself, taking it in, giving Edmonton a 30-2 lead.
Kevin Glenn is in at quarterback, and an incompletion looking for Corey Grant at the 45-yard line. Ricky Ray, the sophomore quarterback, that last drive riding a couple of senior citizens in 37-year-old Mills and 35-year-old Pringle.
Well, just another scenario right there. Kevin Glenn trying to get Corey Grant down the seam. Corey Grant slips just at the end, just before he catches the football, or attempts to catch the football. And unfortunately can't come up with the catch. And once again, it's a second and long situation for the Saskatchewan offense.
The seam pass, first down. Dominguez has been their best today.
Well, Dominguez has been their best, and I tell you, Kevin Glenn has delivered the football. But every time Edmonton gets the football offensively, the last drive Edmonton and Ricky Ray had, they ate up 5 minutes and 42 seconds. That doesn't allow Kevin Glenn and his offensive teammates to do much when they get out the football field. And you know what? They've got to start answering because time is definitely an enemy with 8:38 left.
Eskimos, the highest scoring team in the league this year, and on home turf average 41 points a game.
They can't be on that white stripe because they're funny, right?
It has been a long night for the green and white. 3rd and less than a yard. Flags fly as Glenn, following Jeremy O'Day and company. A.J. Gass said they didn't get there.
They may not have got there. I believe that Edmonton will be flagged for offside. And I think that Saskatchewan's offense will take the first down.
Edmonton, number 92.
They'll take it any way they can to keep the ball.
Kelvin Kinney was offside. And now he'll come out as they march it 5 yards forward.
They really got to be impressed with the defensive line and just the penetration they've had against a good Saskatchewan offensive line all afternoon.
First down. And there's a catch for Corey Holmes. And a first down. You know, Tom Higgins left Winnipeg last week, and he said Saskatchewan beat Winnipeg because they won the battle along the line of scrimmage. And his guys have done that today.
Well, most definitely. They've actually taken a page out of Danny Barrett's quote book when he says to win the game, we have to play defensively in the offensive backfield. And that's exactly what Edmonton's defensive line has done.
First down at the 50. Glenn, another drop. Corey Holmes couldn't hold on. And although Nealon Green will take a lot of heat, and maybe by extension Kevin Glenn, the receivers haven't helped the quarterbacks much.
You know, we talked about drop balls and the frustration it causes to the coaching staff, but also to your teammates. Because you're out there, your offensive line's out there, they're battling. You're trying to do anything you can to allow us to put some points on the board and hopefully get us back in this football game, and that just doesn't help.
2nd and 10. And there is a catch by French, but just a couple of yards. Donnie Brady, who was hurt early but has had an interception, makes another strong defensive play, and it's 3rd down.
And you got to remember Donnie Brady. Here's a guy that came in the West Final a couple years ago, had never seen a Canadian game, and all of a sudden was faced with a 6-receiver set, didn't know who to cover, didn't know where to go. You know, he was baptized under fire. Now he's very comfortable, and I tell you what, he has turned out to be a real steady force in that secondary.
Well, they need 4 scores with 7:05 to play, so Saskatchewan has to go for it here on 3rd and 7.
That's a little interesting, too. We talked about earlier that Saskatchewan told us earlier that they hadn't really used their entire playbook. Now's the time to open that playbook. Find a play that'll get you the first down and hopefully get something positive this afternoon.
Eskimos called a timeout. That gives offensive coordinator Marcel Belfay a chance to just confer quickly with Kevin Glenn. And when the autopsy's done on this, people will ask about the lack of running, the attempt to establish a running game today, the very thing that beat Winnipeg last week. They won't be running now. 3rd and 7. And there's a completion, Travis Moore, and Vincey Coleman forces him out, and a flag. Looks like a face mask will tack 15 more on.
And again, it's just simply a situation of Jamal Richardson running down, clearing, and Travis Moore coming underneath. Now, they got called for this earlier, Chris. It's the same play. Last time when they ran it, when Travis Moore scored a touchdown,
they said face mask, Edmonton number 25.
They said that Jamal Richardson interfered, and therefore they disallowed the Moore touchdown. This is exactly the same thing. I mean, he's just going to come underneath. And you can see number 89 on the ground right there, and that's basically Jamal Richardson, who's just trying to clear out down the seam.
Kind of a straight arm apiece. Flags fly. Kenton Keith. And there's Keith's best run of the game. And we've got Crutchfield and I think Jamal Richardson going at it, but they're separated quickly. And they'll deal with the flags that flew as the play started.
Well, I agree with you, Chris. You brought up the point of really the disappointing.
Offside. Edmonton number 95. Penalties decline.
Albert Rees jumping offside, but I'm a little disappointed that, as you say, Saskatchewan didn't try and establish the run. I got to question a little bit about the fact that Kent Keith, who was a one-man wrecking crew, was put in spot duty tonight. I think when you got a weapon that comes off that kind of game, you want to get on the ball as much as possible.
14-yard run by Keith. First down. They go back to him. And Kenton Keith is in for the score, or will they mark him at the 1?
They're going to mark him at the 1. They're going to say his knee went down before the ball crossed the goal. We'll have to take a look at this, though.
But you know what, Chris? We've just seen on 2 plays that the footing was okay, and where was this in the first quarter?
Well, you know, the naysayers are going to say that because Edmonton has the big lead, they're relaxed a little bit, and they're not as fired up intensity-wise. But I got to tell you, this kid was exciting last week. He's still a great runner. I think you got to make him part of your offensive game plan. A little too late right now.
They knock on the door. First and goal for the 1. Zarka. That's usually automatic. It is here, but a flag has been thrown.
Well, it was thrown, and I'm a betting man that it'll be against the Eskimos again for encroachment on that 1 yard. It'll be a touchdown, Saskatchewan.
Offside. Edmonton number 92. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
First major of the night, but they need 3 more.
Well, he's just going to jump. You can see right here, he's right there. He's not even lined up. He's with giving them a yard. He actually lined up offside. That's an easy call for the official right there.
11 touchdowns in the regular season, and now Zarka pounds it in for 1 here. And they'll go for 2.
And remember, this last 6 minutes can go on for a long time, so this is a positive for Saskatchewan right now.
Then flushed and incomplete. Flag thrown late, intended for Corey Grant.
As you say, Chris, this flag was thrown very late. They were actually walking back to the huddle, and the flag was thrown. This would be an interesting call, but you can bet it's some type of interference. Contact.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Edmonton will repeat the convert.
Well, you wonder if it was Shannon Garrett coming in there. You can see him trying to swipe the ball away from the intended receiver, and he celebrates the call, and it's not till after he starts celebrating that the flag is actually thrown, and they'll get another attempt at it.
They go half the distance to the 2.5. And they'll try it again. Keith, the lone setback, and now he's in motion. Over the middle, wide open. There's 2 for number 2, Corey Grant. And it's 30-10 with 5:23 left in the fourth quarter. First scoring march of the season, of the game, of the Western Final. Kevin Glenn engineers it. Took nearly 4 minutes, covered 90 yards.
Marlon, Kimmy, everybody else.
Well, that was a positive. I think the fact is they kept the football, they moved the football, and they actually finished it off with a touchdown as we watched them attempting a short kickoff.
Rider Nation holding out some hope as McCallum kicks it downfield. So no short kick, in October is caught from behind by Terrence Melton, the always active middle linebacker.
Not really sure I understand that kick. It was kicked to an open spot, and they're usually a little more shallower so you can get of your cover guys to receive as we take a look at the Eskimo offense and what they've done this afternoon. And that's only 3 of them, Chris. Remember, there's Ed Hervey, who had the 69-yard catch and run. to set up one of the touchdowns.
Well, we talked right off the top about diversity, and that's the Eskimo trademark. They've spread it around. And now Mike Pringle putting the finishing touches. Eddie Davis can't bring him down, and Pringle all the way to the Saskatchewan 42 and well over 100.
Well, this offensive line has just done an outstanding job of opening holes. Mike Pringle has not touched. That's the first contact by a Rough Rider, and that's Eddie Davis, 15 yards the other way.
And this is vintage Pringle in that early on there was some yardage, but nothing overwhelming, but he just wears down the opposition.
You saw it in the fourth quarter, third quarter, he broke the tackle and picked it up, and now he'll just keep getting the football. They know the clock is their friend. That's if you're an Edmonton fan or an Edmonton player. And when you got a guy like Mike Pringle who can break it, as you've seen a couple times today, they're going to give it to him.
Against BC in 1997, a playoff record 264 yards. Only half that today, but everybody in Edmonton will take it. And he's not done with under 4 minutes to go. Ray dumps it off. Pringle can't make the catch. You know, from an Eskimo point of view, you might ask, with a 20-point lead, 3.5 to go, Jason Moss or Bart Hendricks might come in. Is this a sign that the game's not done in the Eskimos' mind, or?
I think had Saskatchewan not marched the ball down and scored, you probably would have seen Ricky Ray come out. But the fact is, with 20-point lead and still 3 minutes, I know it doesn't sound feasible. We've seen stranger things happen in this league. I just think that Ricky Ray himself says, you know what, I started this game, I want to finish this game.
Sean Fleming in to punt on third down from the Saskatchewan 41. McCalla, lone man back. Good kick by Fleming inside the 10. McCalla forced out at the 13. 3:12 left on the clock.
Closed captioning has been brought to you by the new 2004 GMC Canyon. Coming soon to a GMC dealer near you.
Jason Moss played the second half of the final regular season game against Winnipeg. Gave the Eskimos the opportunity to win that game. Doesn't look like he's gonna mop up here.
No, he came in against Winnipeg and had an impressive half. Throwing for 2 touchdowns quickly to Corey Bailey and Jason Tucker, and they almost pulled that game out.
Kevin Glenn. And he has a completion to Travis Moore. Third catch of the second half, but all have come from Kevin Glenn. Less than 3 minutes to play in the West Final here at Commonwealth. 40,081 in attendance at Commonwealth Stadium, and most of them enjoying this Edmonton 20-point lead with 2:52 to go. Let's check Chris Walby's Canadian Tire game notes.
Well, he talked offensively. To go to the cup, you must put the ball up. You got to throw the football. Green, only 5 completions. A little bit more success with Kevin Glenn, but not enough. Jam the receivers on defense. Hey, you know what? The receivers have had a field day. All the receivers are catching balls, and they're enjoying themselves out. Tucker, Herbie, Vaughn, Robinson, 8 different receivers catching the football.
Here's Kenton Keith. And again, more production from Keith as he's up to the 30.
Well, we talked about paying the price. That means just doing all the little things right. Only 50 yards in penalty, only 1 turnover, and look at that stat, 530 yards total offense.
Wow.
And on defense, we said Nealon Green would be the story. 77 yards passing, only 38 yards rushing. They've done their job.
First down, Kevin Glenn, and he has Corey Holmes for a first down at the Saskatchewan 40-yard line.
Game notes brought to you by Canadian Tire. Let's get started.
The 13-5 Montreal Alouettes advancing earlier with a heart-stopping win over the Toronto Argonauts. What a football game the Eastern Final was. And now the other 13-5 team poised to confirm their reservation for Taylor Field. There's some Warriors.
Hey, Dave and Nancy. See you soon.
And you can vote for your Warrior of the game.
You're enjoying this.
Tim Prinzen.
And I'm going to interrupt you here because as we take a look at these guys right now, I think as a unit, they are the Warriors of the game right there because they have allowed Ricky Ray the comfort to throw the football. They've allowed Mike Pringle to rush for over 100 yards. And basically, one of the key reasons that Edmonton is probably going to Regina unless something changes drastically.
Oh, Kevin Glenn got nailed, but he's got a completion. Matt Dominguez dropped the ball, and the Eskimos, I believe, are on it. Nope, they're going to maintain possession. And Kevin Glenn deserves to get another offensive play after really taking a hit to make a play.
Well, once again, Matt Dominguez is the primary target. Quick delivery, he goes up high to make the catch, secure the football, and you can see Donnie Brady trying to pull the football out, but he's already on the ground, and this drive will continue.
Here's the hit as Raheem Abdullah nails Glenn. It is a 20-yard gain. Saskatchewan first down, open man, Travis Moore, and he's down to the 30.
And I got to tell you, there's going to be a lot of questions asked now as you see this start to unfold. Why wasn't Kevin Glenn put in earlier? Because right now, he seems to be finding holes in the Edmonton secondary. Now, whether Edmonton's playing soft zone, a prevent type of defense, you know, with only 1:53 left, it doesn't matter because all the fans know is they say, hey, we got a quarterback who's actually moving the football, we'll have it.
Yeah, he's giving them a whole winter of fodder right here. Hey, folks, 11-7. It's been another improved season for the Roughriders, and this core is young and talented, and they are going to be a big factor under Danny Barrett next year.
Well, I got to tell you, it's funny you say that because Edmonton has 19 players on their roster today, Chris, that are 30 years and older in age. Saskatchewan only 7, so they've got a lot of youngsters, a lot of things to build with. They are in the upper echelon of the league right now. Hey, they've taken steps every year.
4 years this team has been pieced together, and maybe Roy Shivers has a 5-year plan. Keith on second down looks like he'll move the chains. Less than 80 seconds remaining. And Tom Higgins can start worrying about Montreal.
Well, you see Greg Marshall, the defensive coordinator right there, does a nice job of putting the package together. And boy, he sure was helped by the pressure of that defensive line.
First down. Glenn. Incomplete. Looking for Grant, and the safety Quincy Coleman all over him.
Well, once again, a situation where even in this late part of the game, Quincy Coleman, who usually lines up a safety, comes down and plays the linebacker position. Robert Grant drops back into the free safety spot. It's just a little different look for the quarterback to kind of analyze.
Second and 10 from the 18 as we approach the final minute. To the goal line, touchdown, Matt Dominguez. He's been great all day, and Rider Nation has something to cheer.
And we talked about in the beginning of the game that Moore and big receiver like Matt Dominguez would have to have a big game for this team to have any success. Well, they're going to Matt Dominguez. It's a little late right now with under a minute left. But again, you gotta like the fact this is a Danny Barrett, well-coached football team that is not giving up. They're continuing to press on. They're building something positive. Even now, where a lot of teams would just fold their tents. This team is still fighting and putting points on the board.
Now they'll go for 2 more. The rush and overthrowing Jamal Richardson, incomplete, so they remain 14 points down. Kevin Glenn 14 of 20, 162 yards and a touchdown off the bench.
And had it not been for that pressure, Kevin Glenn had Jamal Richardson. He overthrew him, but he was wide open by the goalpost, and that would have been a successful 2-point conversion. You see Robert Grant's playing a safety right now. We talked about that switching off. The linebacker, Quincy Coleman. Here's the touchdown. Dominguez just slanting inside of the cover man, Malcolm Frank. That gave them 6 points, and they were unsuccessful in their 2-point conversion. You see Danny Barrett, head coach, talking to Charles Thomas, the left tackle.
Well, they had hoped it would be Taylor Field of Dreams next Sunday with a Saskatchewan presence in the Grey Cup. Well, we know they'll be enthusiastic hosts, and we might hear the banjo once or twice next weeck.
I thought it was humorous too that Neil Green said, you know, he didn't want to give up his locker room to his teammates, his old ex-teammates at Clemson, Daryl Crutchfield and of course Raheem Abdullah. And he said they'll be fighting over his locker. He said he didn't want to have that scene happen.
They try the short kick this time, and let's see. Saskatchewan got it, I think. Yes. Oh, tapped out of bounds by McCallum. Great play by McCallum. We wondered why they didn't try that the last time, but Saskatchewan's still breathing with 55 seconds left.
Well, McCallum makes a play, but what a great kick by McCallum. You see, it's got to go 10 yards, and it just crosses the 10-yard line. McCallum taps it out of bounds. That gives Saskatchewan the ball. I tell you what, never quit, never relax, and Saskatchewan is showing you why, because they're making plays happen at the end of this football game.
McCallum to McCallum, and they're still breathing. At the 45. Open man, and Dominguez and Richardson down the sidelines and out. And a late flag will add 15 more on.
Now I got to tell you something, Chris. I don't care if you think you've got the game won. We talked about the fact that this defense had played well for 3.5 quarters. All of a sudden now is showing spots of mortality. And I tell you what, you know Don Matthews and that Montreal offense is going to look at that and say, hey, there's some openings we can exploit right now.
Unnecessary roughness. Edmonton number 77. First down.
A.J. Gass, the late shot, as Richardson was tiptoeing out of bounds. 24-yard line, 44 on the clock. Take the shot at the end zone and see if you got another short kick in your bag of tricks. Looked like it was there.
Second time this afternoon that Corey Grant, I think, should have come up with a catch. He gets behind the cover. The ball is thrown where it can be caught. He just can't come up with a catch. He gets his hands on it, goes through his hands like a basketball hoop. You have got to come up with that catch if you want your team to keep going. That's 2 drops by the speedster Corey Grant, who...
One in the end zone and one where he would have fallen into the end zone. That's the difference in the game, 14 points. Second and 10. Flags. And a completion short of the first down. We'll find out what the flag is as Dominguez has another catch. 8 on the pickup, and Matt Dominguez has 9 catches in the game and a 100-yard receiving game.
Offside. Saskatchewan, number 87. Beat second down.
Well, Jason Francis basically jumped off the line right there, and again, an inopportune time to take a penalty. Not only does it force you back into a second situation, but you've eaten up some clock.
They've got to get to the end zone twice in 34 seconds. Down the sidelines, there's Dominguez. And now he's got his 9th catch, and he has a 100-yard game, and they're inside the 5.
Now Malcolm Frank is having all kinds of trouble with Matt Dominguez. I mean, it's one-on-one coverage, nothing fancy. He just seems to get by Malcolm Frank. He gets a separation, he fools him. And that's not the first time it's happened, and that's something they'll have to address.
At the 3-yard line, it's 1st and goal. Zarka, touchdown. Well, let's see. I don't think we've got an indication. Zarka went in.
Well, I thought
I think they're ruling he was stopped. And there'll be they blew the whistle before Zarka lunged in.
Well, that's one of those situations you see as Chris Zarka's deciding should he call a timeout.
Well, he slid off the block, and that's going to cost them a timeout. More seconds. I didn't think it would ever be a factor, Chris, but you go back and wonder why Danny Barrett didn't kick a convert, getting within 13, because now you could at least entertain the miracle hope of 2 more scores.
Well, I got to tell you, the whole difference as far as my perspective is that Kevin Glenn has come in and made quick decisions and delivered the ball quickly to the receivers.
Well, it appeared this ball should have already been in the end zone. Let's see if they can punch it in. For keeps. Touchdown for Zarka. 20 seconds left on the clock. 3 straight touchdown drives for Kevin Glenn and the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, the never say die attitude displayed again by the Roughriders, who, after that whistle where they thought they were denied a touchdown, finally scored with Zarka. Now they'll kick the extra point to put them within 7.
And you work back on the last touchdown. They kick a single. They were within 7 of the win, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. They still need another short kick, and then they'll have less than 20 seconds to try and generate another touchdown.
Well, you have to, with 6 minutes left in the game, we had said that it looked very unlikely that Saskatchewan was going to come back in this game. It looked all Edmonton's way, but Saskatchewan has basically said, forget that, put 2 quick scores on the board. You know what's coming. There's no excuse right now. The question is, though, do you kick it to the side where you have 11 cover guys, or do you do the same thing and come to the single side and hope for another tip out by McCullough?
Well, maybe the Eskimos can't overload the one side now because they went weak side. So how many of these different combinations does Saskatchewan have, and how many times can it work in the same game?
You still got to have enough guys over there so you don't allow them to block your guys out and let a receiver come up with the ball.
Jump ball on that far side, and Saskatchewan's got it. Do you believe this? Flag down, however. Flag down.
Oh, you got to wonder what this is, if it's offside on the kicking team.
Dennis Mavrin, the York product, got the ball, but it's,
I believe when they threw it, may not have gone 10 yards or may be offside. Either way, it's going to be not a good result for Saskatchewan as they still try and work out a decision.
18 seconds left on the clock, and Danny Barrett now is enraged.
Legal interference. Saskatchewan, number 99, will re-kick.
Wow. Oh, I don't know about this, because I tell you what, you're allowed to go after the football and tackling the Edmonton receiver who touched the football.
Let's do it again. Jump ball. And flags again. And it looks like this will be the Edmonton ball as the ball was kicked out of bounds.
Well, they tried to get a 10-yard and hope one of their taller receivers, a Dominguez type, would get up there and climb the ladder and be the last to touch that football, knock it out of bounds, but I believe, as you say, it just went over everyone.
Illegal kickoff. Saskatchewan, number 4, first down.
Wow, what a football game, Chris, really.
They went down with a fight. It just was a fight that started too late for Saskatchewan.
That kick actually doesn't even go the 10 yards. It's supposed to go right here, and it actually went over here, so it didn't even make the 10 yards. So no matter what, even if they had touched it, it would have been Edmonton ball.
And now a matter of chewing up 18 seconds and then on to Regina to meet their old foes. It'll take one more. Well, they met twice. Regular season opener, then back at Molson Stadium as the two Grey Cup finalists from a year ago split this season. They met in week 1. They will meet in the final game. Edmonton will play Montreal for the 2003 Grey Cup. Let's join Steve Armitage.
Thank you, Chris. And the man that we're talking about in this game is Ricky Ray. Ricky, congratulations. You got to use your entire arsenal today.
Yeah, you know, that was the key for us. Whenever we play well, we get everybody involved, and everybody stepped up and made big plays for us. And, you know, when we do that, we're a tough team to beat.
What can you say about Mike Pringle?
Man, that guy's a big-time player. You know, he's been around the league. He's played in big games like this, and he's just awesome for us, especially as a quarterback. You know, whenever he runs the ball and runs it well, we do well offensively.
Offense, huge today from your offensive line.
Yeah, and, you know, that's where I thought the key of the game was going to be. It was up front. You know, whichever team controlled the line of scrimmage would do the best, and, you know, they did a great job of that. We had the running game. They protected well and gave me time to throw the ball down the field.
Quick thought on the rematch with Montreal.
You know, we beat them once this year. They beat us once, so it should be pretty evenly matched, and, you know, we just got a game plan and just get ready to play them.
Ricky, we look forward to seeing you in Regina.
Thank you.
Ricky Ray and the Edmonton Eskimos are headed for Taylor Field following a victory over the Riders here in Edmonton, 30-23. The Edmonton Eskimos heading for Taylor Field and the rematch against the Montreal Alouettes. And Mike Pringle, no doubt, will cherish every single moment of the opportunity to go up against his old teammates, the Montreal Alouettes. Tom Higgins, a very contented and happy coach at this point as his Eskimos have won the right to represent the West. Grey Cup coverage begins next Saturday with a replay of the 98 game, Hamilton and Calgary. We'll hear from some of the stars of that game, including Jeff Garcia. And Brian and the panel will preview this year's game. On Sunday, Walby's Warriors 6. Who's in, who's out of the big guys' dream team? And we'll replay the Grey Cup parade from Regina. And at 6 o'clock Eastern, the kickoff of the 91st Grey Cup, live from Taylor Field. The Montreal Alouettes trying to repeat as champions against the Eskimos. 3 games for you next Saturday on Hockey Night in Canada. Next Sunday in Regina, the rematch, Als and Eskimos, from all of us at the CFL on CBC. So long from Edmonton.